might be a weird way or an unexpected way to start the day, but my heart really does go out to the people that have been affected by Hurricane Ida. Some 500,000 people are still without power in the southern states, and they just dropped another flash flood warning for those same southern states. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. And listen, if my voice manages to reach you for whatever fucking reason, you have my sincerest condolences. I don't know what I can do for you, but if there's anything that you guys need a hand with, yeah, feel free. Any way that I can be of help or service other than just provide you some information as to the situation. But you guys are probably already dealing with this a little bit better than anything I can provide. All I can do is just cover the news as it rolls in, I suppose. Sorry, I can't do more. Close to 500,000 households and businesses in the United States, southern states, remained without power in the fallout of Hurricane Ida on Monday, as new flash warnings were issued due to slow-moving rain and drenching thunderstorms. Fuck. Is this like the beginning of another tropical storm that's out there, or what the fuck? Obviously it would be, because hurricanes don't fucking wrap back around normally for another shot, but who knows, man, especially with what we're going to be covering next. Who knows what the science is telling us about climate change and extreme weather. According to Power Outage US, roughly 456,000 power outages in Louisiana were reported as of late Monday, while 13,500 households and businesses were still without power in Texas, 1,500 in Arkansas, 1,400 in Mississippi. That's weird how it just kind of skirted Florida. Like, fucking weather's weird, guys. Meanwhile, the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for southeastern Louisiana and parts of Mississippi earlier on Monday. Jesus. The region was facing the threat of thunderstorms, locally heavy rains, isolated flash flooding, and a risk of severe thunderstorms from the upper Mississippi Valley through the Great Lakes from Monday night into Tuesday, the NWS said in an update. A warning remains in effect until Wednesday morning for Pearl River near Volusia, affecting Pearl River, Hancock, Washington, and St. Tammany counties. From Pascagoula River at Graham Ferry, affecting Jackson County. I'm sure that means a lot more to people who are in Mississippi and Louisiana. It doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot to me, but it sounds like a bunch of counties, and hopefully everybody is safe and secure, I guess. But Biden, man, I think he sent FEMA down there a couple of weeks ago, so everything should be fine and great. And he just approved some disaster funding for New York and New Jersey because, yeah, they were affected by heavy flooding, and we talked about it, and they're still dealing with the aftermaths of that. And if anything, you know, follows a certain pattern like that, they can expect another drenching within the next couple of days or about a week or so, and it's just not going to be good, and they're not really set up for that. But you think, because of just, I don't know, generations of Democrats looking out for their best and honest well-being, you thought that the infrastructure should be there. It really should be. President Joe Biden has approved of disaster funds for New York and New Jersey in the wake of last week's flooding caused by the remnants of Hurricane Ida, according to the White House. And whatever. The disaster funds were released by a federal government to two states on September 5th, according to the statement, after upwards of 9 inches of Jesus fucking 2/3 of a foot. That's ridiculous. Fell in some areas, triggering widespread flooding. That's a weird thing to say, but that's 75% of a foot. Don't need to be giving out bad statistics. The president's action makes federal funding available to affected individuals in the counties of Bronx, Queens, Richmond, and Westchester. The statement reads, assistance can include grants to temporary housing and home repairs, low-cost loans. Yeah, your house was actually just destroyed by a hurricane or the remnants of whatever tropical storm, whatever it was. I think it was still Category 1 by the time that it went up the East Coast. But yeah, no, we can give you a loan if you need to fix anything. That's fucking cool. Yeah, so trying to turn a buck off this. Good one, Biden. That must be a part of your whole tax everybody to get out of this situation type of fucking philosophy on life. Oh, yeah. But Biden went out there. Apparently, he took Air Force One to get to New Jersey. Oh, whatever. Fucking weird flex, especially if you're concerned about the environment. But, yeah, he got a less than happy greeting in New Jersey. Especially, it's kind of weird considering he got like 80% of the vote in New Jersey. It's just weird to see the most popular and well-loved presidents of all time to just face such a hostile reaction, but it's probably those misogynist and racist Trump supporters, right? Obviously. President Biden on Tuesday traveled to New York and New Jersey to tour the areas struck by deadly flooding and sniff some small ethnic kids. Flooding killed at least 50 in the Northeast last week, 13 of them in New York City. Jesus Christ, when we touched on this before, yeah, death toll was nowhere near that high, but fuck's sakes, man, that's crazy. In Manville, is that in Jersey? Must be. Man shouted, "Resign, you tyrant." That's fair. As Biden toured a devastated neighborhood, a pool report said a heckler was standing with a Trump flag in his front yard. Reporters positioned between Biden and an irate local said that the president did not react to the taunts. He probably didn't hear it, probably couldn't understand them, so he was probably well into his day. He was probably already up for 2 or 3 hours at that point. It's just about time for nap time. Other pro-Trump protesters had greeted Biden's motorcade along the route in North Jersey. I see everything that they have there, and it's not a small crowd, a couple dozen people for sure, and I really like the flag that he has there, front and center. Fuck Biden. It's just got a byline, you guys, if you want to take a look at it a little bit closer. Me blowing up the picture won't really do a whole lot. It says, "And fuck you for voting for him." Yeah, you can do without that, because I like the whole imagery, and it just looks nice on a flag there to tell him to go fuck himself. But there's also a Phil Murphy sign there as well, and yeah, both of them were there. Phil Murphy's the governor of New Jersey, by the way, and he's the only person who sits at a table with Biden. Where the fuck is his dork? Yeah, there he is. Just a whole bunch of pictures in here. He's the only person who can sit opposite of Joe, and actually there's a case to be made that he looks older than Joe in this picture right here. What the fuck is with these ancient motherfuckers running these places, okay? It's just these power-hungry old goofs that just want to try and live forever as long as they possibly can and never let go of the stranglehold of the power that they so desperately crave. They're just all depraved. But speaking about this specific meeting here, Joe Biden really just shared a whole bunch of good, positive wisdom and blamed the extreme weather on global warming, because we're back to the original term of all this shit. It's no longer a crisis. It's not climate change. It's just back to good old-fashioned global warming. And I'm sure once snow starts falling down, it'll be global cooling if there's like 3 or 4 feet of snow out there. And he ends up slipping on the ice and breaking his other fucking leg. I fell over my dog. No, he didn't. President Joe Biden warned Americans. See, warmed? But everybody is, oh my god, it's a crisis. Oh, fuck off. That time had run out to keep global warming from causing catastrophic weather events in the United States. We'll get through this one and the next couple ones as well, because I love the shift to such big nebulous terms and nebulous problems that nobody has a solution to. Nobody can really clearly define, but it's definitely a problem and it's an urgent issue that everybody should be putting all of their time and effort towards. But we'll just kind of keep that in the back pocket for a minute and go through these fucking hilarious quotes that he had to share with all of us today. We're so fortunate to have good old Uncle Joe there. Thank you, 81 million people. Climate change is real. We're living through it now. We don't have any more time. Drop off the first sentence and he can just be referring to himself in a corporeal sense. Biden spoke about global warming during a briefing with local leaders in New Jersey on the destructive flooding that occurred in the region, and the remains of Hurricane Ida unleashed heavy rains. He noted that climate scientists had warned for decades about extreme weather events and indicated that the world had failed to react quickly enough. Yeah, like Al Gore when he's telling us that the mountains tops of Mount Kilimanjaro in 2001, by the time 2021 or 2010 rather, by the time that rolls around, there's not going to be any snow on the caps of Mount Kilimanjaro. Just take a look right now. Just take a look right now. Just to let you know. Plenty of ice, plenty of snow still there. But hey, I'm sure he has different scientists too that'll tell him exactly what he wants to hear. Every part of the country is getting hit by extreme weather. We're now living in real time what the country is gonna look like. Oh God. How would you know what the country looks like if you're in a blue state? You're still being locked down. We can't turn it back very much, but we can prevent it from getting worse. Okay, so there's nothing we can do about it, only get worse, but we're still living through it right now, and this is what it's going to look like. But buddy, you're off script here, and you're just kind of circularly arguing for, I don't know what, really. Record rainfall and flooding surprised the officials in the Northeast last week. Why? Don't you guys have fucking Doppler radar? As over 50 deaths in the region were attributed to the storms, Biden said powerful hurricanes like Ida, I went to school with an Ida, and wildfires in the West are only proof that climate change is real. Sure, yeah. You speak with your fucking White House shaman about sacrificing the blood of the unborn, maybe in like a central state or something, would be the only way that you can go ahead and reverse the climate crisis that's on our hands right now. Something like that. I think we're not the only one. Those in an inflection point, where they either act or we're gonna need real trouble. Our kids are going to be in real trouble. Ugh, my God, you're so dumb. Oh, Joe Biden on tornadoes. They don't call them that anymore. What else? What would you call tornadoes, Joe? Big windy cones. I'll take 2 scoops. Like, this fucking dude, he's lost. He's so lost. That's a perfect screenshot there. Huh? Dude, Clint Eastwood is 91 fucking years old, and he can't look as lost or upset as Joe does on a regular basis. Biden struggled Tuesday. Okay, that's all. Thanks. I've been done. No, anyways. During a discussion on extreme weather threatening the country, inexplicably declaring that tornadoes were no longer referred to as tornadoes. More at 6. Looks like a tornado. They don't call them that anymore. They hit the crops and wetlands in the middle of the country. And then it gets funnier from here. In Iowa. In Nevada, you know, the great wetlands of Nevada. The map, okay? You got Iowa, Nevada. Very often are they put in the same geographical category. In the wetlands of where are the wetlands in Iowa, anyways? And oh, whatever. It's just across the board. Yeah. It's like there's idiots in the West Wing, in the East Wing, and in the North Wing. Fuck, you're stupid. The president spoke about extreme weather and tornadoes during a visit to New Jersey and sudden raining, flooding. Yes, that left it. We don't need to keep treading the same old tragic ground. It really does suck. It's unclear what Biden was referring to. You just copy and paste that on everything that he's ever said. But perhaps was talking about the devastating torrential storm in August 2020 that damaged millions of acres of crops in Iowa. Yeah, that would maybe make sense, but if you got to connect the dots for the President of the United States, if you got to do that, oh, I don't know if it's really worth it. A derecho is a sustained storm of straight driving winds that typically caused widespread damage. It seems to ring a bell, but I can't quite remember. But I remember there being really strong winds affecting some stuff. That's about all I can remember. Biden made a point. Wow, that would be rare. Somebody should demark this point in time. During a presidential debate in October 2020 that the derecho storm was a direct correlation to climate change. I'm going to hit my mic stand. Look, what's happening in the Midwest. These storms that come through and wipe out entire sections and counties in Iowa that didn't happen before. It's happened before. They are because of global warming. No, they happen. It's a thing. Strong winds happened all over the Midwest, okay? Those, the magical wind god that comes down and sets his finger down. Finger of God. It sets it down and he makes things go whoosh. Big whooshy tubes. Maybe that's what we'll call them from now on. Or as much air is getting knocked around, you can just call them Joe Bidens. Just going around and around in a circle. Not really, you know, with any desired end point in mind. And then just leaving a wake of destruction. Actually, a Joe Biden, a Category 5 Joe Biden. I like that. I like that. Start referring to tornadoes as Bidens. But you know you're kind of running amok of things if you find yourself talking about the same talking points that a communist dictator with one of the most disheveled countries in the world, I'm not talking about Canada for a change, but you find yourself talking about the same talking points that fucking Kim Jong-un and his jowls have outgrown his box haircut, which is impressive in and of itself. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of his fucking constituents are starving or, you know, actively trying to free their totalitarian shithole. But now he's talking about climate change, because of course he is. Because it's something that can never properly be addressed, that can't properly be solved, because nobody wants to define it. Nobody's going to tell us a concrete way to fix it. Nobody's going to find out a concrete way to fix it, because, hey, guess what? Okay, maybe pollution does have something to play with it, okay? It probably does, okay? Is there such thing as man-made climate change? I think that the science is out there, like the credible science, not the science trademark. But yeah, I think that there's something to that. Holes in the atmosphere can be created by CFCs, and there was one over Australia, but that seems to be all cleared up because, you know what, we started putting scrubbers on smokestacks, started taking different precautions that would lead to fewer pollutants in the air in, like, oh, I don't know, the turn of the fucking century, and then getting out of these globalist agreements like the Paris Climate Accord. Trump ended up dropping carbon emissions lower than they've ever been in, you know, modern history, all at the expense of not having to pay some fucking unelected authoritarian board. Like, it didn't make any sense then. It doesn't make any sense now that Biden wants to rejoin the Paris Accord. He already has. I think that was one of the first day things that he signed in. It's like, oh, we need to get back into this, because we need to look cool in front of the eyes of the world, I'm sure. But it's these ideas from these, like, authoritarians that just want to divide and conquer everybody. Oh, climate change, climate crisis is something that we need to tackle right now, and everybody has to pay the price for it. Abortion, we need to tackle abortion. Well, not really tackle abortion, poor choice of words, because those little fetuses, they just can't withstand, you know, a fucking full-on court press. Racism is a global health crisis. Just pick and choose all of these dichotomous stances that these fucking weirdos take, and then they push out there, and it's like, everybody who's against it is a racist, a misogynist, and a xenophobe, and whatever else you want to put out there. All for fear, all for control, all is a distraction. Yeah, oh, worry about the climate crisis. Meanwhile, at the same time, we're trying to pass $3.2 trillion worth of a fucking budget that really addresses absolutely nothing, but keep looking at the fucking, the temperature gauge. Oh yeah, it's gone up 1.6 degrees Fahrenheit over the past 100 years. That's going to be a big problem because reasons, right? It becomes even more painfully obvious when, we'll get back to Kim Jong-un here, demands urgent action on climate change. But I think he's just a couple of steps back because, yeah, I'm pretty sure those would have been the verbatim words of Joe or Barack or Bill. It really doesn't matter, okay? Anybody who wants to push this type of shit, it's always, oh, it's the most pressing issue of our time. If you don't, our kids who, you know what, the people who keep pushing this kind of stuff too, if they keep talking about there's going to be no future for the kids, it's like, A, you guys don't fuck. And if it's a man who's talking about this kind of stuff, they normally don't fuck consensually anyways, because you guys know the story about male feminists, or they're aborting every fucking kid that could potentially be out there. So what do they care about the future? It's all about the now for them, okay? Try to rape and pillage as much stuff as they can get. That's why they're so spastic about making sure that everything happens right now, because, oh, there's no time left. Yeah, it's just because your biological clock is ticking, you fat cunt. North Korea's I don't even know who I was talking about. Oh, probably just seen his face and just, you know, thought that, hey, it's definitely been face fucked by the Pillsbury Doughboy. North Korea dictator Kim Jong-un called for urgent action on climate change at a meeting with his Politburo on Thursday. Yes, he has one of those. That's not just one of the colloquial terms for the mainstream media at this point. Yeah, that's what you have in communist regimes, blaming disastrous weather brought on by climate change for North Korea's food shortages. Blah, 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 words. I could point to another more logical reason for the food shortages. I don't know. Can anybody else figure it out? It's a real mystery to me. According to North Korea's state-run Korea Central News Agency. Yes, Kim's address to the Politburo put land management, food shortages, and the global health crisis, because they don't say the coof, at the top of the agenda in his usual rambling fashion. Oh, don't take shots at me. Kim hinted that land use policies could be improved a bit. Uh-oh, so many people are dying because of this. And chided unnamed local officials for not following central policy properly. Oh my god, they're not instituting mask mandates? My god. But he held communist central planning and ideology largely blameless for North Korea's food crisis. Obviously. for very obvious reasons. Instead, he blamed climate change. What? By extension, the rest of the world for not doing enough to address it. That also makes sense too, because, oh yeah, don't blame, don't you dare question the glorious regime. It's those imperialist pigs across the ocean, and they're the ones who are putting all of the chemicals in the air. What do you mean, the people to the east? Or I guess it would be to the west for them. Hey, have that guy killed. Him getting starved out isn't happening quick enough, so off with his head and run his pockets to see if he's got anything. He called on the party organization and power organs in the provinces, cities, and country. Oh my god, communist dictatorship with a fucking province. Oh great, cool. I see the future. And countries to be well aware of the importance and urgency of the land management and the demand for the political central committee at the present time, and go all out for implementing the party's policy on land management. What is more important than anything else is to maintain the viewpoint and attitude of setting forth the land management as the most priority. Is anybody else bored by this? Holy fuck, it's the exact same shit over and over again. Hey, guess what? Government's doing fucked up shit. Okay, I'll blame it on something that, you know, a bunch of people are concerned about that really, you know what, isn't that big of a deal in the grand scope of things. Yeah, just keep blaming it on that, and, you know, just make the explanation super muddled and don't take any responsibility for it. Instead, just blame it on everybody else that's out there. Everybody else needs to do better. I'm just going to continue to stew in my own shit and then just lob fucking balls of it over the wall and then just tell you to do better instead of me. No, come on. He's probably got his fucking third dinner cooking, so fuck him, fuck Joe, and Godspeed to those southern states that are going to get hit by more fucking rain. That's atrocious, really is. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.